Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
Outspoken MP Leslie Miller weighs in on those MP attendance records. That story straight ahead.
A shantytown fire leaves several families homeless. An F&M MP calls Dr. Hubert Minnis a worthless leader. Plus, why the DNA revoked one candidate's nomination.
News is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina McNeil. Topping news tonight, outspoken Member of Parliament Leslie Miller is blasting two Progressive Liberal Party MPs whom he says betrayed their constituents by having poor attendance records during the current session of the House of Assembly. Miller singled out Elizabeth MP Ryan Pinder and North Abaco MP Renardo Curry, calling their absence disgraceful. Jasmine Brown reports.
The Tall Pines MP labeled Pinder as the worst offender, insisting he should not only give up his Elizabeth seat, he should also give up his MP paycheck.
One fellow in particular, the one out east, he need to get people the money back. As far as I'm concerned, the fellow abandoned Parliament and he abandoned everybody. Okay, and you should not be paid if you don't attend Parliament. If you go on any other job and you don't attend, what can happen? They can cut you, right? So they should be cut.
According to House of Assembly records, Pinder has not attended a sitting for the year, despite a rule which states that a seat becomes vacant after a 90-day period. Miller insisted that Pinder does not deserve the privilege of being an MP.
It bothers me, you know, he, as a minister, he decided that the money from this big-time job was so great that he had to leave. Fine, okay. That means that money comes over people, right? After doing that, and he knew he wasn't running again, the right thing to do was ready to go. He should give the people the money back. He should write the Treasury a check. I haven't been participating. I haven't been here making so much money outside. I don't need this little measly $28 to begin with. Give it back, or give it to a social organization, the Ranfley Home or one of those organizations, as a gift. That's what he should do.
Miller also shot down the explanation given by Curry, who has been absent from the House 102 times. Curry accused the Nassau Guardian of trying to discredit him by publishing an article on his many absences weeks before a general election. He also said that his work in the office of the Prime Minister in Abaco keeps him busy and unable to attend the House on many occasions. Miller called it a ridiculous excuse that no one in their right mind would buy.
When you put yourself out in a situation and you're saying that the press is after you, that's the biggest mistake you could. Why would the press be after anyone? The press writes paper and they tell the facts as they are. And the fact is, he did not attend Parliament a hell of a long time. Now he's saying that he was in the Prime Minister's office. I accept what he says. But I'm saying, don't fight the press. That's a losing battle, because the press presented the facts.
Miller, who has had a good attendance record in the House of Assembly with just 9 absences this session, had this bit of advice for his parliamentary colleagues.
Do your job, eh? When Parliament convenes, be there. That's all I can tell them as young fellas who just reached for the first time. I've been there now, this will be my 7th time. Do your job and do the best you can on behalf of the people that you have the privilege of representing.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
In other news, at least 6 families lost their homes last night following a fire at a shantytown off Cowpen Road. Officers of the Fire Services branch worked late into the night battling the blaze. Fonique Toot has more.
Fire ripped through a small shantytown off Cowpen Road last night, destroying 4 homes and leaving several families displaced. Residents rummaged through debris to see what could be saved following the fire, which reduced some homes to charred shells. Among the salvaged items were this Bible, a mattress, and a child's spelling bee certificate from Gerald Cash Primary.
There were some 4 structures which were destroyed, and we have received information that there are 6 families which are displaced. We do not have a total at this point in terms of the numbers of adults and children, but that information is forthcoming.
Officer in charge of the Police Force Fire Services Branch, Superintendent Walter Evans, says they received reports of a structural fire at the shantytown shortly after 8 p.m. When the first unit arrived on the scene, firefighters met several structures ablaze.
Immediately, that first truck which had arrived made a call for all of the available fire trucks on the island from the Royal Bahamas Police Fire Services to come out to assist in extinguishing this blaze. While all the trucks were here, all the trucks engaged in a vigorous operation.
Evans says while firefighters were able to contain the blaze, they were unable to save several homes. Investigations continue.
We do not have the cause of this blaze, however, the cause is under investigation, and the fire services will be in a position to release the cause at a later date.
It's just the latest fire in recent weeks. Last week, fire services responded to a bush fire off Carmichael Road, pulling resources from the New Providence landfill fire, which burned for days, threatening homes in nearby Jubilee Gardens. Reporting for our News, I'm Voning Toot.
Well, don't expect to see Attorney Wallace Roll's name on the ballot as a DNA candidate in the upcoming election. The party has revoked the Nassau Village candidate's nomination. In a letter addressed to Roll, DNA leader Branville McCartney said, "At the time when you were interviewed by the candidacy committee of the party, we deemed you to be a suitable candidate for the position. However, in the ensuing months since your announcement as a candidate for the DNA, concerns have been raised about your commitment to the DNA." Roll called it a disingenuous and classless act, adding that he cannot put party before his country.
I have nothing more to say about Mr. Roll. I outlined it in a letter that I saw was made public in one of the newspapers today. Everything I said in there, I stand by, and I wish Mr. Roll well in his future endeavors.
Roll said the DNA could end up helping the PLP by not joining forces with the Free National Movement. However, McCartney says Roll's opinion is flawed. Meanwhile, Central and South Abaco Member of Parliament Edison Key has labeled Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis a worthless and immature leader who is not fit to head any political party in the country. Key also echoed calls for Dr. Minnis to resign over his comments about executing a real sale of Baha Mar. Jasmine Brown has that story.
Key slammed Dr. Minnis and his performance over the past 5 years, insisting he does not deserve to be leader of the Free National Movement.
Dr. Minnis doesn't deserve to be leader of any party in this country. He's worthless as a leader.
Key, who has decided to support the PLP's candidate in his constituency in the upcoming general election, adds that Minnis isn't representing the party well and doesn't bother to show up to Parliament when he should.
That speaks for the party, and she's quite capable. I don't think he has that kind of ability to lead the party.
Key also says he agrees with government negotiator for the remobilization of Baha Mar, Jerome Fitzgerald's call for Minnis to resign once Baha Mar is opened. Minnis called the handover of Baha Mar to CTF Enterprises on Tuesday a photo op for the Progressive Liberal Party. Earlier this month, the FNM leader released a statement insisting the FNM would find a new buyer for Baha Mar should they win the next general election.
You know, how do you sell something that you don't own? You know, the government doesn't own Baha Mar, to my knowledge. So how can you make a statement that you're going to sell something that you don't own? That's very frightening, as far as I'm concerned, to any, not only Bahamian investors, but foreign investors coming in to put the money in a country where it's not safe, that you can just change a government and sell it off. Doesn't make any sense at all. That shows his immaturity, and for that reason, I think he should resign.
Fitzgerald said Minnis has been rooting against the project and the Bahamian people and should resign if he is that positive the resort should not open. A claim Minnis has since denied, saying the FNM welcomes the resort's opening but questions its premature timing. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Still to come on our News, why a physician says dump fires have become a national public health crisis. Plus, the DNA dismisses the Bahamar handover as a pre-election show. That's coming up when our news returns.